Welcome to Math with Miss Swartz. Today we're going to be looking at our measures of central tendency, and you've really already worked with a lot of these before, so this is going to be a big review today, which is a perfect day for a video. We haven't done one in a while. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to talk about the different types. We're going to do a couple examples. Hopefully we can get through them fairly quickly here and move on from there. So let's get started. The variation of a data set that includes kind of we're looking to be able to describe a data set very simply. So here are the few that you need to know. I'm also going to add in one more to this, and that's obviously range. Range is not considered a measure of central tendency. That's why it's always kind of separated out. It's actually considered a measure of variation, which describes the spread of the data set, but let's walk through each one of these. The mean of a numerical data set is the sum of the data divided by the number of data values. Okay, so another way to say it, it's the average. You've done this before. Okay, the median of the numerical data set is the middle number when the values are written in numerical order. Okay, pretty simple. If we write them out in numerical order, we work our way to the middle. The mode is the one that you find most often, and there may be one mode, no modes, or more than one mode. And then, as I said, measure of variation here, a little different. My pen to work. Maybe. I'm using my finger. A little different, but it's our range, and we worked with that before as well. Our range is the difference of the greatest value and the least value. So make sure you have that in your notes as well. Okay, so you've worked with these before, as we've stated, so we're just going to do a few examples. We're going to find all of these for our examples here, so hopefully you take a minute to write those down. Okay, so this says, an amusement park hires students for the summer. The students' hourly wages are shown in the table below. Okay, so we have all of these hourly wages. So it wants us to find the mean, median, mode of the hourly wages, and we'll also add in the range there just to get some good practice with that. So the mean, remember, we're going to add up all of our values and then divide by the number of values. Okay, so I'm going to add up each one of these on a calculator, and you can do this with me. So I have 1650 plus 825 plus 875 plus 845 plus 865 plus 825 plus 910 and plus 925. That would give me 77.2, and then I'm going to divide by the number of hourly wages we see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that will give me 9.65. That is my mean. Okay, my median, I need to list them out in numerical order. So my lowest number here is going to be 825. I have another 825, so sometimes I like to cross these off to make sure I have them all listed. Then I would have 845, 865, 875, 9, 10, 925, and 1650. So I've gotten them all. Okay, so it's nice when they're in the middle. So I can work my way. I have a finger on the left side of the screen and I have my pen on the right, and I'm going to work my way to the middle. Okay, so in this case, since I have an even number, I'm going to end up with 2. Well, how do we do that? We take the average of the 2. So I have 865 plus 875 divided by 2, which gives me 8.7. That would be my median. Now, my mode is where it occurs the most. I have two 825s. That's as simple as it gets. 825 would be my mode. And then if I did want to find the range, okay, I would take the greatest number, which is 16.5, and I would subtract the smallest, which is 8.25. So 1650 minus 8.25, and I get my range is 8.25. So that's kind of the spread or the distribution of the data. Question B, which you'll see a lot, says which measure of central tendency or center best represents the data? Okay, so which one do you think out of mean, median, and mode we'll stick with here? Because those are our centers. Those are our center data pieces. Best represents this data up here. So you're looking for, okay, which one is kind of that middle ground, which one kind of encompasses all of the different pieces. So a lot of times what's going to be the case is the mean, unless we have what they call an outlier, which it's been a little bit since maybe we talked about outliers. Outliers are numbers that are either really big away from a lot of the data or really small. Okay, so in this case, we do kind of have an outlier. There's a lot that are right in this range. Our 1650 is a bit of an outlier. Okay, so the best measure of central tendency here could probably be described as the median in this case because of our outlier. Normally the best measure of central tendency would be described as the mean. Something to keep in mind. Okay, let's look at this next question. It says the park hires another student at an hourly wage of $8.45. How does the additional value affect the mean, median, and mode? Okay, so in this case, what you could do, and what I want you to go ahead and do, is re-find the mean, median, and mode, and I'll even throw in the range, see if that changes, okay? And see if that affects anything, this extra piece in there. So what you'll have to do is you will need to go back to this slide, and you can pause it right here, and I will erase those for you. Okay, see how adding that one other number in there maybe affects and changes some of these numbers. So hopefully you wrote all of this down so that you can easily add this 845 in there. So go ahead and do that. Okay. So in that example, we already kind of talked about this. I want to give you the definition of an outlier. So I need my pen back. Okay, an outlier is a data value that is much greater or much less than other values in the data set. Okay, so we already kind of talked about this. That outlier in those examples, in this example, that 1650 here, definitely changes our mean, median, and mode. How do you think it affects that mean, median, and mode? And maybe describe one possible outlier for the or explanation. Okay, why would that person's be so much higher? Okay, so I want you to think about that a little bit. How does it affect the mean, median, and mode? And then maybe think about one possible explanation for that outlier. All right, we're kind of running out of time here, so I want to make sure that we finish up in the next couple minutes. Here, this table shows the annual salaries of employees of an auto repair service. It says, identify the outlier. How does the outlier affect the mean, median, and mode? Okay, so first of all, just identify the outlier because that is going to help us greatly. So either really big or really small compared to a lot of the other ones. Well, first of all, maybe just find the biggest one. The biggest one is 72,000, and the smallest one, okay, would be, I think, 32,000. So you could find the range there. 72 minus 32 is 40,000. So obviously 72,000 is our outlier, correct? Okay. You could describe one possible explanation for this outlier. Okay, that's up to you. But what I want you to do is I want you to find the mean and median mode, and we kind of already did the range, okay, for these. And then think about how this 72,000 would affect these. If you took that out, what would happen to the mean, median, mode, and range? Okay, that's what I want you to look at right there. So I know a lot of this is on your own, but you guys have done mean, median, mode, range for a long time. Okay, so I think that kind of ends what we're going to do today. I'm going to move it back to here. Sorry for flipping to the next screen. You do have some homework in your textbook. Here are the numbers that I want you to do. I don't need to see your notes today, but page 590 in your textbook, numbers 5 through 8. Okay, so you will need to find the mean, median, mode of the data set and determine which one best represents the data. And then numbers 19 through 22, but you only need to find the range there. And I think we're good with that. So that will be your homework. So there's not a lot of problems there, but you have a few things to do on each one. Okay, so on 19 through 22, there are two directions. We obviously have not talked about standard deviation, so just do the range on 19 through 22. All right, have a wonderful day.